Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David. It's Friday, May 26th. Ron DeSantis. Well, he had his failure to launch on Twitter. I guess when you fire 80% of the staff and treat the remaining staff like slave labor, things are going to break, and there's going to be nobody there to fix it. Message to Elon. However, he's been stepping up attacks on President Trump, saying Trump's moved too far to the left. And then I was just reading this little story here that basically what we're seeing in Florida is like a dry run for what he wants to do in Washington, D.C., including, quote, he wants to reconstitutionalize the federal government. He would dispel the long-standing tradition that the government institutions like the DOJ operate independently from the presidency, and that the DOJ and the FBI should be answerable to the president. Sounding a whole lot like an authoritarian government regime to me. Okay, so, Spirit. If Ron DeSantis were elected, what would be his plans for the U.S. government? What would he do? For entertainment purposes only. Heads up. PSA. This is not a MAGA-friendly channel. If you hear rooting for Ron DeSantis, you're not going to be hearing rooting from me. Okay, here we go. What will happen if Ron DeSantis were elected president? Would he basically turn this into a mini Florida? He'd go in there and he'd look around, ready, almost like a Wicked Witch of the West. He'd be looking around, who's he going to turn into his flying monkeys first? And he would then try and complete what he started in Florida. Think of Florida as the test case. It's the initial go around of what he wants to do, and if he got into the White House, he would finish it. And I really do think it would be the end of it, yet another person who would try to bring around the end of democracy. In the past, there's a certain naivety that he just wants to be. He wants people to like and adore him, just like Trump does. And that's not exactly true. He's not a real people person like Trump is. But he's going to go forward with that offer to get people to support him. And the problem is, it starts off innocent enough, but then it gets ugly really quickly. It would be the end of norms. It would be the end of democracy. It would be an absolute dictatorship. He would bring that to an end, and he wouldn't think twice about it. Don't ever expect that if he were not reelected, or he wouldn't give up. There would not be a peaceful transfer of power with him either. He'd be looking to other countries for guidance on how to set up their government. Think of the illiberal democracy that's over in Hungary. He would be basing his whole platform on stuff like that, with the thought of not wanting to leave that position, of installing himself in there for a very long time. However, this is a fool's errand. America has been free for so long. They're not about to take this lying down. They will fight him the whole way through. And honestly, he wants to do that. He can't. He doesn't have the horsepower to do it. There would be enough pushback and enough resistance. He wouldn't know where to go with it. The outcome, though, is betrayal. He would try to betray this country. He would do it in a second. He would try to take the 3 different branches of government and take control over all of them. And just like the world card, right now, he's in the process of instituting these changes. I was just watching Johnny's channel where Johnny was talking about the Fool, the world card, and the Wheel of Fortune, where you had the Fool is, you're starting your journey, you're starting your plans. The Wheel of Fortune is your destiny. It's what's coming up, the paths that you choose. And then the World card is the completion of that path. And he pointed out how the animals on the Wheel of Fortune are reading books, but the same animals in the World card have completed their lesson. So if he were elected, his lesson would be complete, and he probably wouldn't have learned that this isn't going to go well. So I want to throw now on what's going to stop him, besides the fact that he's not going to get elected, but what's going to stop Ron DeSantis from taking over this country and turning into an oligarchy or an authoritarian government. I don't have a mouse card. I don't know what would be my Mickey Mouse card. But I suspect the lawyers are going to come in here. All right. What would stop Ron DeSantis from being elected president? What's going to stop him? Okay, find out. His narcissism, his inability to cooperate, his inability to be a team player. Basically, his inability to get people united. He thinks of himself only, and you need allies in order to get over the finish line. But people don't like him. He's a less charm. He's Trump without the charm. So, he requires willing sacrifices, and he won't look at things in a different light. So he just requires people to throw under the bus for his mistakes. And there's the planning card, Knight of Swords, and then underneath is the Five of Coins being left out in the cold. Okay, so what's going to stop him? First off, in the end of the day, he doesn't play nice. It's all about him and about nobody else. And if you're not with him, you're tossed out. You're not wanted. You're useless. So again, he doesn't unite people. He divides people. People need to get out and vote. Plain and simple. You need to get out and push back on this guy. If he were the Republican nominee, you got to get out there and do what you need to do. You have to show people what this guy is all about, and then go forward and act and push him out. That is what would stop him from being in there. Basically, there would be a general uprising against him. Okay. I think I will. I'll end it there. Trump versus DeSantis, head to head. How's that going to look? As the election season starts, Trump is going to rip this guy apart, and DeSantis is going to push back. So we'll do a little mini read on this one. How's Trump going to do against DeSantis? Let's bring this down. What's going to be the signifier here? Whoever has the bigger club is going to win. So this is action. This is taking the beat down. Now for Donald Trump, it's going to be pointing out how weird, how ineffective and feckless DeSantis is. For DeSantis to win, he has to point out that Donald Trump is just over and done with. He's been, he's gone. He's done. He's got all these court cases. He's not the man he used to be. And he's already started that part. So for Trump, we get... Let me get the death cards upside down. That's because I put it upside down. And then for DeSantis, oh, goodness gracious. There we go again. Okay. Let me move my computer over here a little bit. Okay, so for Trump, in order to portray DeSantis as just a weirdo and he's weak and foolish, he's going to point out how that DeSantis just... he doesn't, he's not helpful to the people. The people in Florida are suffering underneath them. So he's going to focus on Disney. He's going to focus on the fact that Florida's not doing well. And he's going to push really hard on the messaging on DeSantis. And he will bring around the end of DeSantis. That's the end goal. He plans on burying DeSantis underneath this message of failure. Maybe that DeSantis also accepts bribes and is corrupt, so on and so forth. Okay, so for DeSantis, as we move along, he wants to point out how Trump's finished. How, I don't think he's going to mention Russia, but, he's got all these different court cases with women, and, the times weren't quite so good under Trump as Trump would like to make them out to be. If you want to hold on to the strength of America, you need to vote for DeSantis. And DeSantis is going to, again, he's going to try and scare people and portray himself as the strong man, and then point out how Trump is getting weaker and more woke, like this woman, because he's too worried about other things. So expect the fur to fly on this. This is, just get your popcorn. This is just going to be an absolute mess. Okay. So that's my reading on Ron DeSantis. That's my reading on Trump versus DeSantis. They are just going to beat each other with a big club until the other one's just done. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Thank you for all your support that you've given this. I really appreciate it. I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.